Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're asking the question, what improved your quality of life so much you wish you'd done it sooner? Join us as we share our answers and the answers of others. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're asking the question, what improved your quality of life so much that you wish you had done it sooner? And I love these kind of questions because not only do they make us thankful for the changes we've made in our own lives, but we also get inspired by hearing what other people have done in their lives. And so, Mindy, you brought us this question, and did it immediately appeal to you when you saw it?
I think that I didn't think much about the question. I was in one of those mindless scrolling situations on my phone, and I happened to see this question posted on the Clean Food Crush Facebook page that I follow because they'll put out like good recipes or, different things like that for quality of life stuff. And a lot of it's food, exercise, health related. And so I saw this question and I immediately was just deep diving into the answers. And then it really piqued my interest because of some of the shallow answers that are just so lighthearted and easy. I'm like, oh, that's an easy fix. And then there were some that were much deeper. And so then I was kind of deep dive scrolling into that. And that's when it really kind of struck. I was like, oh, that's a neat idea.
Yeah, I felt like it was immediately appealing because I might not have been able to think of things immediately to myself, but I love reading what other people put.
Yeah.
How about you, Julie?
It was fun to think back through it like, okay, yeah, this really does make my life better. And like you said, Mindy, some were just kind of like life hacks and some were really, meaningful things. So yeah,
Right.
I liked it.
Okay, so we're just going to kind of dive in, and we also are going to have a section, and you can even include these in yours, or we can do them at the end, but I definitely want to read what some of the other people said. So, Mindy, what was the first thing that you feel like you wish you'd started doing sooner?
Well, one of the things that I absolutely love and look forward to every morning is black coffee. This is a very simple thing. It took me a long time to even like caffeinated products in the morning. I didn't really start coffee till I was 30. And then I deep dived into, the high calorie laden Starbucks drink. The cafe mocha was where it was at. And I spent years then starting to adjust the sugar content and what type of milk and do I want whipped cream, and literally finally landed on black coffee. And now it's an Americano, which is just espresso beans that are ground in hot water. It is my favorite thing. It brings me so much joy. It's so simple. And I'm like, black coffee. I should have started this a long time ago.
You would have saved yourself a lot of buying products and then not liking them or they're not being the right thing.
Yes, yes. I had no idea how much I would love it. And maybe it's just that, all my taste buds are gone. I have no idea. Either way, I'm very happy with it.
Well, you're actually tasting the coffee now.
There you go, Julie.
That's where I've landed too. A good Americano every morning.
What's something you wish you'd started a little sooner, Julie?
Okay, this is actually something I have just started. And it is amazing. I'm just thrilled with it. I found that there's a way to set screen time limits for apps like Facebook and Instagram.
Oh.
And it's just been revolutionary, y'all. You go to if you have an iPhone, you go to your settings and then you go to screen time and then you have app limit and you can pick which app you want. So I just set Instagram and Facebook, and you can set it for however, you can set it for 2 minutes a day, 6 hours a day, whatever you want. So I set mine at 30 minutes a day, thinking that was very generous. And it's so funny because sometimes before I get out of bed, I've already used my time. Like, oh, sorry.
Wow.
Because especially if you're watching a recipe video, that really starts eating into your time. Because I do a lot of that, watching somebody cook something, and it's just been great. Because I that sounds so silly that you can't have some self-control and just say no, but you lose track of time. So this is keeping track of time for you. And it will say, like, when you've reached your limit, you can say ignore. You can say, give me 1 more minute, give me 15 more minutes, or you can completely ignore it. So, if I'm in the middle of a recipe, I'll say, give me 15 more minutes. It's not like real legalistic about it.
Wow.
It has been so great. I'm surprised that that this is even an option because they don't want you to quit looking. They want you to keep going.
Wow. Okay.
So it can be cumulative too.
Yeah, it's not all at once. So, like, just at the end of whenever you've reached the 30-minute time total, it
Mhm.
it cuts you off.
Wow,
Wow.
that's something really good. Well, it's funny because I have some different things on my list, but I'll start out with the one I just recently started. And Mindy, this was inspired by you because I can't remember what episode this was in where you said you get up and immediately make your bed every morning. And I know that
Mhm.
you've said that in older episodes, but you also said one that was just pretty recent. And I don't know why the recent one made me like, okay, I'm really
Hmm.
going to try this because I hate walking into my bedroom later in the day. Like if I haven't pulled the curtains open and I haven't made the bed, it's just depressing to walk through there. And I probably made my bed 70% of the time anyway, but I wouldn't necessarily make it the first thing. And it really makes a difference in my mood as I walk around. So I decided that before I left my bedroom in the morning, I was going to open the curtains and make the bed. And that does make such a big difference because every time I
Yeah.
have to go back in there, it makes me feel good that it's light and bright and the bed is made.
I remember hating having to learn that, but now it changed me. But like the house that we lived in Nashville, I don't know if you guys remember this, but our master bedroom was literally right off the living room.
Oh, yeah,
And if the door was open, you could see the bed.
sure.
Now, that forced me.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I have to do it. I'm going to see it all day. And no, now like I can't stop.
Yeah. And it's funny because I want to make it even just for me. Like nobody can see my
Mhm.
bedroom, but even if it's just for yourself, it's just nice when you walk in there.
Yeah. I go through phases where I make it and then phases where I don't, but I will
Mm.
say that when you first get out is the time to do it. That's just the
Yeah.
Yeah.
easiest.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to follow you on that sleep note there because my next thing that I wish I had started sooner, but I literally resisted, was going to bed earlier at night,
Mm.
which also helps me get up earlier in the morning. I literally pushed this off for most of my life, because when the kids were little, that was the only time that I had to myself was at night after everybody was in bed. And so then I would stay up way too late. But I think it was, I don't even know when it started changing, but now you guys know, like you tease me if I'm on answer my phone past 9 p.m. um, because I love going to sleep early. I love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorite things, and I get so happy about it. And now I love waking up early. I was never this person before.
No, I could totally see how that would make a difference. All right, Julie, what about you?
I would say developing goals. This is not something I've really ever done. John and I never really did that. I mean, we talked about things like, oh, we'd love to do this someday, but not setting it out and like making a plan. And so, we did the 25 and 25 this year. And I'll just say that that list is hanging on my bathroom wall by my mirror. And I do look at it every week. And it's been so helpful to say, oh, I totally forgot about that. Like, had I not written it down, I might not have even remembered that I wanted to do that or, I had that as a goal. And it's not hanging over my head like I have to do it, but it just keeps it in the forefront of my mind. And it's an encouragement to keep
Mm.
moving forward. Like when I just want to go back to bed one day, I'm like, no, because I could do this,
Mm.
I
Hmm.
could do this. I could start working on that. So I've really enjoyed that. And I want to keep doing that. And I wish I had done that earlier.
Mm-hmm. That's really good, Julie. I think we've talked over the years about how goal setting is hard. So even just
Mhm.
setting goals, and then I think that's probably it's not the hardest part. Obviously, doing them is harder. But once you have something in mind, then like you said, you have something to work towards.
Yeah, and I think when we made those lists, we actually said we weren't even gonna call them goals, they were desires.
Okay.
So, baby steps here, like, I don't have
That's
any
right.
5, 10-year goals, I don't have any of that kinda stuff going on, but just stuff to remember that, "Hey, this is something I was interested in and I
Mm,
wanna do."
Right, right.
Yeah.
that's really cool.
one of mine, or it's kind of like a subset of things I wish I would have done sooner, is get the right tool for the job. There is nothing more frustrating than trying to do a job when you do not have the right tool. And I was even thinking about in the kitchen the other day as I went to open up a can. I can remember so many times like trying to make some janky $2 can opener work. You practically cut your finger. You have to start it multiple times. It's like, could we just spend $10 on the KitchenAid can opener and have it? Like, it's not even like they have to be expensive tools, but so many times we don't want to buy the right thing. Or kitchen knives. How many bad sets of knives did I have before finally I bought well, I didn't buy it, but I asked for Christmas, really nice knives. And I bet I use one of those in the knife block every day. I love having a sharp enough knife to cut up what I want to cut up rather than not, if you go to cut, your bread, you could squish a sweet potato or something hard. You could practically slice your finger off if you don't have the right knife. Like, just get the right tools. It makes such a difference. And sometimes they can be expensive and they'll last a lifetime. Like knives can be resharpened and you can use them over and over. Or sometimes they're inexpensive and they're still going to make such a big difference. Another thing I was thinking about was appliances. And I got rid of a bad dishwasher in this house when I moved in, and I put in a dishwasher that works. And my quality of life is better every day, sometimes multiple times a day, when I don't have to scrub my dishes and I open that dishwasher and those dishes are crystal clean. That is a quality of life. I just think appliances, tools, get what you need and it's going to work and not make you have to do twice as much work just to get the same amount done.
Yeah.
Really true. I think about that because John was a big proponent of that. And I laugh at myself, when I go to hang a picture, now I know, okay, Julie, just go out and get the drill bits. Like if this is going in wood or something, get the drill bits, get it all, get the ladder. Whereas I used to, I'll just move this stool over and stand on that. And I'll use my heel of my shoe to hammer this nail it.
There you go.
I have the right tools, but didn't want to go to the garage and get them. Now I know, just start off with all the tools.
Yes.
So true, you guys.
And just on my subset of that, 1B would be get your own tools. So many times I would be going out to Steve's toolbox and I would be frustrated that I couldn't find the hammer or the tape measure or the screwdriver that I needed. Now I have all those of my own in the kitchen drawer. And it makes such a difference. One, if you are going to hang a picture, all your stuff is right there in the kitchen. There's something about having to go out to the garage that makes it harder to go get the right tools. And two, I don't lose my tools. I have them in my drawer and I know where they are.
Well, I wasn't going to say this, but I have to add a tool for you guys now that you have all the porches and everything. A tool that I got that I absolutely love, it's changed my life, is a battery-powered leaf blower. It's lightweight. It's got the rechargeable battery because Bryce had the backpack heavy gas leaf blower. When we moved in this house, I spent so much time sweeping. You guys, this battery-powered leaf blower has changed my whole life. Almost every day, I go out and I just blow off the porches. You can blow off your sidewalk and you're done. And then it sits in my laundry room and I recharge the battery and it's good to go. So if you're a woman out there, you're gaining your own tools. And my mom just told me on the phone, she just got her own chainsaw, which I haven't done that yet, but I was like, wow, Mom, way to go. She did.
Yes. Mindy, I have my leaf blower based on you. So when we moved to this house, I was going to be the one taking care of the lawn. And so I bought tools that I can work. They're all rechargeable batteries. They're all light enough for me to carry around. I know how to work them all. And it does make such a difference. It's not intimidating to use a tool that you know how it works and you are keeping up with keeping the battery charged and you know that it's in good operating condition. And it just makes such a difference.
Yeah, I love having my battery operated lawnmower and I have a weed eater and my gas is or my blower is gasoline, but it's lightweight. It's not a backpack kind.
Nice.
So it's nice to be in charge. I've got all the chargers plugged in, ready to go. So yeah, it's very easy to use.
Well, it's funny. I just realized I kind of have a theme. I just talked about like my bedtime routine and going to bed earlier. My next thing that I wish I'd started earlier was my wake up routine. So I talked about my Americano, my black coffee, but the other things that I love about my morning routine is journaling and taking a gratitude walk. And that could just be 5 minutes, but it's how I try to start every day is while I'm drinking coffee in the morning, my black coffee. I'm journaling, and journaling has been such a gift to be able to get things out that maybe had been stuck in my head. I kind of write out verses that I might be trying to memorize. I'll write out prayers. I just feel like there's more weight to it, like it can get out of my head and then I can leave it in the journal and start my day. And so then the gratitude walk, just fresh air, getting outside. I don't have a dog that I have to walk, and so it's really just me and the Lord. And I have forced myself to practice seeing and remembering the things that he's done so that I can pray and let go of the things that I know he will still do. So those are two amazing things, amazing ways I start my day, that I love. I love so much.
Your whole morning, Mindy, is like self-care and like preparing, and you can't help but have a good day.
It's so good. And I have to still be good when I can't do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I had thought about was making a friend from a different generation. This probably happened about 6 or 7 years ago with me, and it's just a fun thing. Like, it's kind of unexpected, but it keeps you current. It keeps you, in the know of things that are going on, and it just helps me to see things from a different perspective. And I love it. They tell you that you can do things that you think you can't do.
Oh.
And my friend Janet also has a young friend. I thought that was kind of interesting that we both have like 27-year-old friends. And I wish I had more. I think it's really a good thing because I don't ever want to get to where I'm just like hanging out with old people.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like having older friends. So I think it's good to
Mhm.
just have access to all ages, and that's just been a real blessing to me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I can see how that would be helpful.
I love that. And I'll tell you guys now, as we're recording, this is a podcast that I think that we should do. I think Abby and I were having this conversation about the things that generations learn from one another and how each generation has something so valuable to give another generation. And what are some things that we can each learn from each other?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so beautiful to have all of them incorporated and realize what you have to bring to the table and what they have to give you. So I love hearing that multi-generational friendship.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's one that I know I've talked about before, but it was top of the mind when it said, "What do you wish you'd done sooner?" I wish I would have gotten a dog sooner. I feel bad that my kids never got to enjoy a family dog. I also recognize that at the time when I had 5 kids, I did not have the bandwidth to be taking care of a dog. But I will just say, like, things that have improved your quality of life that you wish you would have done sooner. I would say that having a dog has improved my quality of life. So I wish maybe I had done it sooner or felt like I had been able to do it sooner.
Well, I'll say, just to make you feel better, when you had kids at home, I don't know that it would have improved your quality of life that much.
Oh, that's good to know, Julie.
Yes, because I did have a dog when Molly was in first grade. So all the kids, this is David was, 1. It was difficult, and I had a totally different relationship with that dog. It was just like something else to take care of. Whereas this dog has been mine, and it's been a pleasure and a joy. It was a totally different relationship. So that's one of those. It sounds ideal, but maybe not.
Yes, I think that's how I felt at the time my kids started asking about a dog, was like, this would just be one more thing on my plate every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why I didn't do it. So I can definitely see, like, different stages of your life. A dog is probably easier than others.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Okay.
And that's why I love hearing friends tell you it's okay.
Yes, it is, Mindy.
It's okay. Because I'm not there yet, but I could
You're
actually
okay, Mindy.
see. I know. I'm like, I could see me being Marie in, 5 years. I could see me being Julie.
Uh-huh.
So I love that. I do love that. On that note, something that I wish I had started sooner, but I think along with your dog comment, Marie, I don't think I could have started it sooner. There was just not space for it. But I absolutely love being able to serve at a crisis pregnancy center. I have always had a heart for girls in crisis pregnancy situations. Have always had a heart for the unborn, and it's never fit. It's never been a place where I had the space to do it. There was never a facility that I had the space to do it. And it's now I do.
Mhm.
It fits now. I have a place to go now. I absolutely love it now. I've been going a year and a half here locally, and it's just something that I love my time there. I look forward to it every week. I know I'm going in. I have no idea what I'm going to come, what type of situation I'm going to run into. And I just really feel like the Lord has to prepare me, speak through me. I have to be flexible. I just never know. And there's something so enjoyable about getting to know girls, women in different stages of life. And some of them I just want to take home with me. And others just bring me so much joy. Like they're teaching me.
Mhm.
So I just what I get with the friendships of the people that I'm serving with, the different people that I get to meet that I would have never met anywhere else. It just brings me so much joy. It's a different layer aspect to my life that's outside of myself, outside of my family, outside of anything that I would normally do, I guess. And so I love that about it. I absolutely wish I could have been doing it my whole life, but I just couldn't.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that you do that. Yeah, it always inspires me. I'm still looking for something like that.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of come up recently is I did a kind of a remodel project in my home, and I just thought about doing things that I'm kind of afraid to do, and this kind of fit into that category. And this is something I guess I wish I had started sooner, but it's also just come about since John passed away, like just having to step out and do things that seem a little bit scary. This is the first thing that I've ever really big done that I was, like, totally in charge of, you know? I mean, I had friends to bounce things off of or my mom or whatever, but, like, I just felt the weight of it on me, and it was I don't know, it seems maybe it seems kinda silly, but it was kind of a scary thing to step out on. You know, like, my house could fall apart
Mm.
or it
Mhm.
might not end up right, and I have to, sue somebody to get it right, or, I just had heard kinda some horror stories on construction, and but the Lord led me to the right person, and it's exactly the way I wanted it, and it just turned out great, and it's just encouraged me to do some things that are a little bit scary, and it's kind of leading me to do some other things, because it doesn't take much fear on my part to keep me from doing something, like, I can say, "No, I'm just not gonna do that, that's too scary, that's too frightening, there's too many risks," whatever.
Mhm.
And they don't even have to be big things, y'all.
Mhm.
It's just like just the slightest hurdle can shut me down. And so I just learned too, like that I had to kind of stand up for myself because there was nobody else to do that for me. Like when something wasn't right, I had to say, "Oh, I don't like that. Like that's not right. I'm going to need you to redo that."
Mm.
And I can remember in projects before, like John was mostly at work and I was at home while the project was being done. And he'd call and say, "What does it look like?" And I'd say, "Well, like, there's kind of this little mistake, but I think we could just hang a picture over that." Like, I always wanted to just accept things and not confront, and I have not been like that. Like, I hear John's voice in my head saying, "No, like, we're paying for this. Don't accept it until you're happy."
Mm.
And, I really was able to do that with this project because even though it went great, there were little hiccups along the way, and things that I just had to speak up for myself. And so that was just it gave me a lot of confidence. It was kind of empowering to take something like that and see it come to fruition
Yeah,
on
and
my
and,
own.
like, actually match your vision.
Yes. And not being afraid to say, no, like I really want it done this way.
Mhm. That is scary, especially when for so many years you've kind of had your husband to be the bad guy when you
Mhm.
don't like something or has to speak
Yeah.
up, you know? So it can be intimidating to have to do that.
Yeah. Instead of just saying, yeah, that's fine, it'll work or whatever, but I found
Mhm.
myself
Mhm.
very emboldened to speak up and say what I liked. So
Yeah.
wish I had been doing that all along, but, it it definitely improves your quality of life to get it the
Oh,
way you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you, Julie, too, because that is hard. It's not just a physical thing. That takes so much mental weight to step out and be courageous.
Yeah.
And hopefully this project will help lead you to try to not be afraid with something else, that it'll lead to something else and
Yeah.
keep
To remember
improving
that
quality
and
of
kind of,
life.
yeah.
Okay, one of the things that has improved my quality of life in that I'm not scrolling as much is I started reading books on my phone. I have like the bigger iPhone, so it's a little bit easier to read something. But I remember feeling kind of guilty. Well, now you're even on your phone even more if you are reading your book on your phone. So I bought a Kindle Paperwhite and then I started reading my books on there. But I found that I don't have that with me all the time. So I have to like plan to read or like, okay, I'm sitting down to read. And your phone is always with you. So I feel like now that I've started doing that this spring, I've read a lot more books. And is it the ideal way to read a book? I don't know. I mean, supposedly the blue light's not as good for you. And I am holding my radiation machine right in my hand all the time. If I think about it too much, I can feel like this is not the way to read a book. But on the other hand, at least I'm reading something.
That's right, Marie. It could be so much worse.
Yeah. I'm kind of that way with listening. I used to think, well, that's not really reading a book, but I now consider that's reading a book. So I get a lot more
Yes.
read now that I'm willing to just listen to books. So yeah, I
Yeah.
get that.
Well, my next kind of set of things is pretty lighthearted, but actually this made a difference. And I have had a love-hate relationship with carbohydrates
Oh.
for most of my life. And I think probably a lot of women have
Yeah.
had a relationship that has been,
Contentious.
difficult. Yeah. And I mean, I definitely started out in life thinking, not thinking that it was carbohydrates. And I love sugar and I love all the cereal and I love all the things. And then I got to where I was like, oh, all carbs are bad and, cut out all the carbs. Well, I'm at a really happy place. And I kind of wished I would have embraced good carbs a long time ago. I love potatoes and I love rice and good bread. And I just think that if you have the right ones, they are so filling and fulfilling, and they actually bring me so much joy. So I kind of wished I didn't, misuse carbs and then cut carbs out. But having the right carbs brings me satisfaction in my day, and I will have some sort of potato or rice or bread every day, multiple times a day, and I'm just not afraid of them anymore.
I
Yeah.
think that was one of the most common answers in the comments were dietary changes that people had made. And healthy eating and getting a healthy relationship with food was commonly said. So I think you're not alone in that, Mindy.
One thing that's really improved my quality of life is being in a book club, being in a children's book club specifically. And this is something I started about 4 years ago and kind of based on a C.S. Lewis quote that says, no book is really worth reading at the age of 10, which is not equally worth reading at the age of 50.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of pointing to the enduring value of truly good books. Like there are things that could resonate with all ages. Like it's beyond your childhood perspective that you had when you read it the first time. There's just a lot of things that you can glean out of it as an adult. And it's led to great discussions. It's been fun. It's kind of whimsical. And it's even led to like just a deep bond between the women. And it's even led to a prayer time. So it's kind of evolved into a much bigger thing than just the book club. So that's something I'm glad I started and that I have in my life.
Oh, that's good. There definitely is enduring value in books that you loved as a child. I think one of my greatest joys as a mother was getting to share books that I loved as a
Mhm.
child with my kids. And
Mhm.
then one of my greatest joys as a grandmother is getting to share books my kids loved with my grandchildren and then books that I loved. And I'm even like just on the edge of my seat waiting for Pepper to get maybe a year or so older. I was even going to try it maybe this summer to start with The Little House on the Prairie because I just can't wait. I just can't wait to share all those kinds of books and like the Ramona books and like just all the fun books. And I read them over and over again as a child. I read them to my own children and now I'll read them to my grandchildren. So you're right that books that I loved as a 10-year-old, I still love.
Yeah, I can read books on the little Yoto, which is like it's kind of like an MP3 player for books, and it's not internet based, but I can record books, and then Ezra and Liam can listen to them at their house. And I keep asking, "Is he ready for chapter books? Is he ready for chapter books?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think I read one, and he just wasn't quite ready. To follow along. And so he's done some little what is it, the Magic Treehouse book. I've read those. He's ready for those.
Yeah.
But I'm eager to get to some of the older ones like Ramona and those old books. So hope he likes those.
Yes.
That's definitely one of my fondest memories. Abby was the only one that really shared a love of books with me. Books that I would normally read. And so even when she was a teenager, there were book series that we would go through together while she was in high school that brought a lot of joy. So that's such special memories, sharing the love of a book with your child. And then, your grandchildren now. That is so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is good. Okay, one thing I wish I would have done sooner, but I probably couldn't have really done it much sooner, is travel overseas, like to Europe. So I felt like it was too hard when I still had all the kids at home, and I got married and had my kids young, so there really wasn't time before. And so it's only been in the last few years that I've had the opportunity to do it, like I feel like the freedom to do it. And I have loved it, and it is a quality of life thing because I have loved seeing things that I've only read about in books in person, or things that I've seen on TV in person. And also it's made me just maybe think broader. So I just think it is a quality of life thing. And if you have the opportunity, I mean, of course, it's awesome to do it when you're young. But even if you didn't get the chance to do it when you're young, it's not too late. Like my parents, they're still traveling to different countries and they never even started until probably 10 or 15 years ago. And they just pick, one or two places to go a year. So I can see that you can do it for a long time.
I can't wait to go.
You're almost there, Mindy.
Listen, all the trips that we've been able to take, I relish. I love cities. I love history. I love museums. I love architecture. So every new city we go to, one of my favorite things to do is to learn about the history and then the architecture. So I cannot wait to go to Europe and go back even further in time than what I've already been exposed to in the United States. I can't wait.
Yeah. It'll be fun, Mindy, for sure.
So there were several comments that really made me laugh because it's something that I would include on my list, even though I have no control over this. Several people said moved to Georgia or moved to the beach.
Fun.
And I was like, yes. So I love living in a southern climate. I love Tennessee, but you guys, I love Georgia. The warmth, the sunshine, the winters aren't as harsh. We might get a dusting of snow. I do miss snow. I love seeing snow and having a snow day. But I love longer summers, warmer days, lots of sunshine, and I just feel like I was made to live in the South. So I don't know if that's something now that I'm older that I'm just like I get colder faster. I have no idea. But no, those comments cracked me up because I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I definitely think that Florida is a popular destination for older people for a reason because we can stand the cold less and less as we age. And also, it's dangerous to slip and fall and it's not fun to get out there and scrape your car. And like there's things that you can do when you're young that you don't think anything about in the snow that as you get older, you start to think, I could break a hip here.
Yeah,
That's
when
right.
you're young, you just can't comprehend that. You're like, "Why would you wanna leave this? This is so beautiful." Like snow
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm getting it more and more, but, I still like all my seasons, but
I'm gonna be with my dog in Florida one day. So I think
with,
that they
with your dog in a bike basket.
that's right. That's me in the future, I guess.
One of the comments that really I said, for sure, the person said progressive lenses. So I have needed reading glasses for probably at least 3 or 4 years, and I was just using drugstore readers, and I tried buying the chain around your neck. I tried having multiple pairs in multiple places. I tried all the things to just have them when I want to read something, and I never could keep them near me enough to be able to always have them. I have the monovision for my contacts, but a lot of times I take my contacts out in the evening and I still need to be able to read things. And so this past year, I got progressive lenses, and it is so wonderful to be able to have glasses that you can just leave on your face. You can see far, you can see close, you can read, you can do all the things, and it's just the same pair on your face. And so I would say if you are, wondering, like, I think I got caught up in the fact that they can be hard to get used to and they can be expensive. But actually, if you go to your local Costco, I think mine were like $150. I don't consider that too much for glasses, too much to be able to see. And they took me maybe a week to get used to. I mean, they said, you kind of have to turn your head at first to look at what you really want to see clearly. But now I don't even think about that. Like, it's just been so worth it. So if you are still messing around with never being able to find your drugstore glasses, I encourage you to get progressive lenses. I wish I would have done it sooner.
yeah, and when you add up all that you spend on the glasses that you lose,
Yeah.
you're probably it probably equals the 150 that you spent on the nice pair at Costco. So,
Right. Right.
I agree with that. One thing I see a lot on here is, taking up camping and hiking, and I will say hiking has improved my quality of life. I haven't always done it. I didn't really grow up doing that. I didn't start till about 12 years ago when a friend took me on the Appalachian Trail. But I love that and want to keep doing that. And slowly but surely, I've added camping to that. I mean, I've camped a couple of times, and in June, I'm going to be camping in the Rocky Mountains. So, yeah, I hope that that continues because I do enjoy it. I just love being outside.
Well, something silly that I saw on the list, obviously, this is a very lighthearted thing, but I totally agree with it. I saw multiple times where they mentioned buying a Roomba
Mm.
for their house. And this is there were so many like simple things that people listed. I'll just do a quick little list of some things that I saw just to give you an idea. Somebody mentioned buying an air fryer, a Stanley cup, an ice maker, a heated blanket, a Dyson vacuum. One lady mentioned an SPF scarf, which I have never heard of.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that either, but I did see that.
Yes, and somebody went on and on about her Blissy pillowcase.
Oh, I've
It's
had
a
one.
okay, so,
Mhm.
but I don't know about any of those things, but I do know about the Roomba. So I appreciated that kinda, like, lighthearted list of things that people are like, "This just really improved my life," kind of a life hack situation. But, my Roomba, my iRobot gives me so much joy. We call her Rosie, a lot of people do. Harkens back to the Jetsons maid.
Oh,
I
I didn't
think
even
Yeah,
put that
the robot
together
maid.
until just
the
now.
robot maid.
Okay, yes.
Yes. So, but it brings me a lot of joy. I put my stools up to make sure she can get, underneath where people sit at the island, and I turn her on as I leave the house and she goes to work.
That's so cool, Mindy. I have never broken down and done that, but it's especially probably easy once your kids are older and not leaving a bunch of little toys around. Like if you're just putting some
Yeah.
chairs up, then I can see how
Mhm.
that would be a big help.
And they have the ones that mop the floor now too, and mine is older.
Yours is
Mine's an
about ready
old
to be
girl.
retired.
I know. I might have to get a new one. We'll see.
Something that someone put down, which I've had one for years, but I'm saying this to tell people it's not too late because my parents just got one, I think 2 years ago, a king size bed. So here they are in their 70s and they finally get a king size bed. I would always be like, I don't know how you guys are sleeping in that queen. My brother and sister-in-law, I think maybe still sleep in a double. I don't know how people do it. But anyways, someone in the comments put getting a king size bed, and it is so nice. I've never heard anyone that got a king size bed that said, I wish I could go back to smaller. I haven't met someone. Have you?
I certainly wouldn't say that.
Actually, Julie, I don't think you have a king size bed. That's why you're being really quiet.
She's like,
I never
no, it's
got it.
fine.
No.
No. Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my parents go away to Florida every year for a month, and they in their vacation house that they get at the same place every time, they have a king size bed, and they would come home raving about it. And I always be like, why don't you just get one? Oh, well, our bed is fine, but I love that king size bed. So when they moved 2 years ago, they finally got one.
wow. I'm so used to our king size bed. If Bryce's toe creeps over to my side, I can't sleep.
Yeah. I was wondering, are there king size beds?
I really like kind of having my own space.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus for tall people too,
Yeah.
Something I see on here a lot, and I would amen, is hormone replacement therapy. Yes. No need to be having hot flashes and being miserable.
uh-huh.
I had my hysterectomy, woke up with a patch, and I've never had one symptom.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
highly recommend it. You don't have to feel bad.
Yeah, I saw that a lot on there too.
Mm-hmm.
Along with quitting drinking, quitting smoking, and getting divorced. Those were like probably the highest.
I would say quitting drinking was the number one response, and then
I know.
divorce, which was sad. But
Did you see the comment about I finally got a dog instead of a boyfriend?
yes,
that was so funny. I saw yoga on the list a lot.
Yeah, I did see that too.
I thought that was interesting because the older I get, the more I realize how important stretching is, and like deep stretching and breathing and things like that. And so I thought that was interesting because it really is so, so good for you as you age to stretch more, take more time to stretch. And so the fact that it wasn't like, an exercise class or, people did mention lifting heavy. One person I think maybe listed long distance running, but the amount of times that yoga was mentioned was by far the most in the exercise category. So, and I think that was really wise.
Several people said deleting social media apps from their phone. They still have them on their computer. They can check them if they want. I have not done that, but it is inspiring to read that.
We'll start with the time limit first, Marie. And
oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome, Julie. Yeah, I hadn't even known about that.
I see Finding Jesus on here, which makes
me
think that I can't say that I wish I'd done it sooner because I did it as a child, but but I haven't always walked as closely with him as I am right now. So I'll just say that is the best thing that you can do to improve the quality of your life.
Along with that, Julie, I loved it. And somebody even mentioned I'm starting to go to a Bible-based church. And I thought that was really, really neat that they put it in those words, that they stopped going to a religious church and started going to a Bible-based church. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting and true. I mean, how they put that.
Yeah, a lot of people wrote things like that. One of the weirdest comments, did you guys see this? Getting fancy rats as pets?
No.
I did not.
Don't know that I could ever consider. Well, first of all, I don't really know what a fancy rat is, but I don't think rats could be fancy enough for me to want them as a pet. So I'm not sure about
that.
No regrets in that area.
Wow. There were a lot of comments in terms of maybe placing boundaries on other people. Somebody mentioned the let them theory, the let them book. Removing toxic people. There was that word toxic. We've talked about that before. But I think in general, with relating to other people, I can really relate with just not trying to control other people, learning to, manage your own response and let go, let them so that you can let me. So we've certainly talked about that, but just having some healthy boundaries, managing your own expectations, and freeing yourself from feeling like you can control other people. Because you can't.
Some of my own that I didn't mention that were just quick was like ordering my groceries for pickup and I get triple rewards on my credit card for doing that. I don't know why, but
Oh,
that makes sense to me. And so I've
yeah.
just really gotten in the habit of just on Sunday afternoon making my list, picking it up Monday morning. Setting my bills to auto pay. I was very resistant, but now that I've learned and know what to expect,
Mhm.
that's something I've gradually moved to. Sleeping without the TV on, flossing every day. I go to the dentist and they're like, "Man, your teeth are clean."
Oh,
And it's like,
Julia.
"I floss twice a day."
Teacher's pet.
Hey, when I've had if you had as many dental issues as I
Yeah.
have, my dentist said, "Hey, do you wanna hear some good news?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "There's nothing wrong." And it's like, I don't hear
Oh,
that often. So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, I have such a simple one that I'll finish on. Um, I love that I stopped wearing as much makeup as what I used to wear. I used to get up every morning and just do a whole face full, and I loved all of it, and it was so fun, but you really get trapped in a routine, and then you're kind of, suffocated by your routine.
Mhm.
So this is back to my morning routine. I stopped wearing mascara, and, I started that a year ago. It has brought me so much
That is
joy.
so surprising, Mindy, because you used to put that on even before your workouts.
Girl, yeah. And I still I still have, like, a routine, but it's so much simpler. And so, like, when I get up in the morning, I'm so excited to get out to my kitchen table, drink my coffee, journal, read my Bible, that I love that my routine is simple. So it kind of, I make my bed, I'm drinking water, and I can get out there faster because I don't leave my room until I'm together. And so I like that my routine is so much smaller because then I can get out of there faster and be
Right.
ready for my day.
One thing I would end with is just something that's really improved the quality of my life, especially since moving here, is watching the sunset because we live on a park called Sunset Park because it faces due west, and people drive down to the park to watch the sunset. And
Mm,
it's just something that I notice. My mom's window faces this way, and she'll say, "Julie, come out and look at the sunset." And it's even caught on to my son, who's in his 20s. When I was in my 20s, I probably never looked at the sunset. And, on a beach, I would, but it's become a daily thing. And I so appreciate that. And I love to see that it's caught on even with my young son because it's just beautiful. We take pictures of it almost every day. It's like, you know, I would have probably been cynical, like, "Well, it looked like it did yesterday." Like, no, it's
Mhm.
new every day, and the clouds change, and we notice the way the sun moves in the sky, like where it sets,
mm,
and it just I don't know, it just kinda keeps me grateful, keeps me in the present, and
mm.
it's just beautiful. So just
Yeah.
noticing beauty is something that will improve your quality of life.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a very grounding way to end the day.
Mhm.
All right, well, that was good. I'm inspired by the comments. I'm inspired by some of the things that you guys talked about. I look forward to trying some of them. Julie, I definitely want to re-listen to this and figure out how you did that time limit thing. I think that would be a good thing for me to
Mhm.
implement. Listeners, we'd love to hear
Yeah.
things that you wish that you would have done sooner that improved your quality of life. You can find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I'm a fan of my new weighted vest. I have seen this all over the place lately, and there's an influencer that my daughter recommended I follow, and she's in her 50s, and she was talking about it the other day, happened to include a link from Amazon. So I was like, okay, stop overthinking it, just go ahead and get it. So she talked about, she went ahead and got a 12-pound weighted vest, and I was like, okay, well, I'm already working out and lifting weights. I'll go with the 12-pound. But so on Amazon, the name of it is Zealous, Zelus, and it's a weighted vest. There's a lot of different weights that you can order it in, and there's a lot of different colors. And so, what I really appreciated about this is I wore it one time and I noticed a significant difference in what it did for my cardiovascular health, but
Mm.
also the strength that it was building in my legs and glutes. I was a little breathless as I wore it, but I felt the effects of a walk last night, and I had walked yesterday morning with it. And then going to teach class this morning, I was like, wow, it did so much more than I realized that it did at the time. And so even how you wear it, it's sitting on your chest. So to take a full breath, you're resisting the weight of the vest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets you into an anaerobic state faster. It really made my heart have to work more.
So, are you hot, Mindy?
Not yesterday.
Okay.
So I will not wear this vest if I'm walking in 95-degree heat.
Okay.
Because I just put it on over my sweatshirt. It was like 61 degrees yesterday morning. So I had a sweatshirt, then I had my vest on, and I had a pair of shorts. But definitely one of those things. It's going to have to be a little bit cooler. Like clearly you're adding a lot of weight and you're adding another layer. I'm sure that there's other vests out there that may cost more that you could add weight or take away weight. Now, this vest was like $36 for 12 pounds, and you cannot take the weight off of it. It's only 12 pounds, and it's almost, I think it's sand on the inside. And so it's just heavy. It's just it's simple. I thought, okay, that's not like a crazy amount of money. So I can definitely give this a try. So it's an adjustment. Like when you're used to walking and then you add the vest, there is an adjustment, and it's a good adjustment. I'm thankful. I've worn it one time. I'm already a huge fan. I can't wait to go again because it adds a whole new dynamic to that walk.
That'd be a good way to train for a hike, like if you didn't have hills. It's funny because I saw a group walking in those in the neighborhood, and I did a double take. Like, is the SWAT team out there?
I know.
It really looks like you're in a.
Oh, you saw somebody walking with that, Julie?
Yeah, I see a lot of people with them on.
Oh, you do? Why? I haven't. Maybe I just haven't noticed. Yeah.
You're going to start seeing them everywhere. I feel like this is kind of a new trend, and I'm definitely jumping on this trend, and I see the value in it. So I'm excited. I'm like, just go ahead and make fun of me. I'm doing it. I really like it.
And did anyone stop and make fun of you?
No, I had my AirPods in. I was in the zone.
All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
All right, I'm a fan of a recipe, and I thought of you, Marie, because it's a chocolate mousse, and I know how much you like mousse.
I do.
So you might want to try this. It's a cottage cheese mousse. So it's high protein, and you put it in the food processor or blender with cocoa powder, and then some form of sweetener. If you look it up, there's different recipes. Like you could use maple syrup, you could use honey. I use like a monk fruit erythritol mix to sweeten it. And then they set it in like little parfait cups to make, but I don't have room for that in my fridge. So I just put it in a glass dish and then scoop it out when I want to eat it. Oh, and I added chia seeds for fiber. And then, you can put a little dollop of whipped cream on it, and it's just a great dessert. Like I still want something sweet. I want a dessert every night, but I don't need to be eating ice cream or cake or something like that. So this is a high protein. I think it's 20 grams of protein. I'm sure you could do different flavors, but I loved the chocolate. And you can kind of vary the amount of cocoa about how dark you want it, how much chocolate flavor you want in it. But it was really, really good.
It does sound good, Julie. Probably if you made it and I didn't know about the
cottage cheese. Don't tell her about the cottage cheese.
Like it.
Well, you blend it up so you can't see it either.
Okay. I can't do the chunks of cottage cheese.
No.
Me neither. The only way I can eat it is scrambled in my eggs. I whisk it in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not eating it.
Yeah. Okay, this week I am a fan of a Broadway show. So I didn't see it on Broadway, but it is on Broadway. And so TPAC, the Tennessee Performing Arts Center, has Broadway shows that tour. And so for 2 weeks here, we have MJ the Musical. So it was my birthday it's my birthday today while we're recording. But this past weekend, we were celebrating. And so Steve got tickets to MJ the Musical. And it was phenomenal. Michael Jackson is kind of the backdrop of all of our teenage years, like he was big. So MJ the Musical centers around the making of Michael Jackson's 1992 Dangerous World Tour. But it goes beyond the singular moves and signature sound of the star, offering a rare look at the creative mind and collaborative spirit that catapulted Michael Jackson into legendary status. And it starts out with an explosive rendition of Beat It. And then it cycles through dozens of songs. And then, it goes through like the Jackson 5. It talks about his family life. It talks about, his dad was very hard on them. He was definitely verbally abusive, and they implied that he was maybe physically abusive. It just kind of gave you some insight into his career. I didn't realize that there was even any racism involved in like him getting his songs played on pop radio. Like until he became so popular with Thriller, they would play him on R&B stations, but not on like the regular pop radio. There was a lot of background that I didn't know. It ends like around 1993, so you really don't learn about like his weirdest stages, because he got a lot weirder after that. But this, like especially for our generation, is just so fun because you see maybe why he was the way he was, and then the guy that played him was unbelievable. He must have studied months of footage. He had every move and finger flick and dance move. He must have burned 10,000 calories. It's almost a 3-hour show. And they have 3 different people play him. So like the child that played him was so unbelievably talented. And then they have like a young adult, and he was great. And then they have like the main star. So I guess I'm saying, like, if it comes to your city or you have a chance to see it in New York City, go, because you would love it.
Yeah, I also heard from 2 different friends this weekend that they loved it as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow, what a great birthday, Marie. What a gift.
I know. Yeah, it was really fun.
And thank you for sharing your day with us and recording today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right, listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode and you are inspired to try some things. And we definitely want to hear from you about what you wish you would have tried sooner. Thanks, Mindy and Julie, for sharing.
Yes, y'all have a great day.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.